Welcome. In front of me I have the TCL NxtPaper 70 Pro, and today I will show you how you can go through the setup process of this device.
I przytrzymaj przyciski zwiększania i zmniejszania głośności przez 3 sekundy. W celu włączenia funkcji TalkBack.
There we go. For some reason, this stupid piece of shit starts talking to you right away without any interaction, which is a very stupid design, but whatever. But in any case, you can see that first things here is just the Witam in Polish for some reason instead of, I don't know, English or cycling through languages, because maybe Polish isn't your language. In any case, right here we have what I presume is TalkBack. Yep, or not TalkBack, but just visual impairment settings. Now, because instead of having a language choice first here, we need to go forward, choose our desired language from the list. You can select whatever region you want. I'm going to be choosing Poland, assuming there is Poland. And of course there fucking isn't, because why would there be? Whatever, I'm just going to click on whatever. And now I can go back and have it in English. Great. So now when I click on the vision settings, you can see they're now in English. So if you have some kind of visual impairment right here, you can check these out. And we have things like display size and text size, so you can change both of them. This will include the text separately and icons and buttons separately. Now if we go into magnification, you can basically have it so you can, I think, double tap to drag 2 fingers to move around, use shortcut to start the magnification. Okay, so there's a shortcut, and you would basically be able to magnify it as though it's a picture that you can zoom into. And we have also select to speak and full talkback. Anyway, I'm gonna proceed further now. So I'm gonna skip the language selection now, and we have next terms and privacy. So you can click right here on privacy policy and then user license agreement to read exactly what you are agreeing to. But if you're like everyone else, you're never gonna read a single page of it. Moving on, we have SIM card. This is basically just managing your SIM card. Now I do have one inserted, that's why it shows up with Virgin Mobile right here. But typically it would be a page where it shows you insert a SIM, and you can skip this and turn it off. So you could skip this, and you don't need to really bother. Next would be the Wi-Fi connection page, which you don't need to connect to either. Whoa, wait, I actually need to. Okay. So it looks like we cannot skip this for some fantastic reason. Guess I'm gonna connect to it. Great that the setup can be done, set in the way that you want, right? God forbid you were able to skip connecting to Wi-Fi if you didn't want to. Something about, I don't know, setups that mandate something just piss me off, because it's supposed to be a process in which you choose the way the device works for you. But apparently I'm a boomer right here that that is mistaken on how setup by definition would work. Can't wait for Windows to be like, ooh, set this wallpaper or set this image as your wallpaper, and it's gonna be, haha, it's a setup, so we're gonna give you a random image. Anyway, once it's doing one, that just gave me a brain aneurysm. Once it's done wasting our time, we can proceed further, and first thing you will see afterwards is copy apps and data. So we can do so by signing in to your Google account, or you can just ignore this and select don't copy and set it up as a new device without importing anything. Now, by saying importing it, it just refers to whatever is tied to your Google account in reality. So your contacts, photos, and stuff like that, that is all pulled from the cloud and not really, not really a restore. Next we have the sign-in page. Again, if you decided to proceed with the previous page, it would still land you in the same thing. Next we have set a screen lock or set a secure unlock method, basically screen lock. Now, neatly enough, props to TCL for doing it this way. I kind of like it. So typically you would have fingerprint, face recognition, and then password. And password basically consists of all three at the same time, so you can choose which one you want in a separate menu. But here it just kind of gives you all of them at the same time. Now, that being said, the fingerprint and face recognition are biometrics. Biometrics aren't 100% reliable, not in protecting your device, but in unlocking your device. So because sometimes they just might have a little sissy fit and refuse to unlock your device because you got a tiny little blemish on your face or your finger, the phone always forces you to select PIN, pattern, or I didn't know I clicked on that. PIN, pattern, or password with any of these. So you can select either one, both of them. It will always require you to select PIN, pattern, or password. So when the phone refuses to unlock for some benign reason, you can always rely on your PIN, pattern, or password, which doesn't care about your tiny little blemishes. Or alternatively, you can just skip protecting it altogether by clicking right here, skip. But I don't recommend doing that. Now, reason I don't recommend doing that is because Android devices come with a bit of a security feature. So if you have a Google account signed in and a screen lock, if in case you ever were to lose your device, shit happens. If you lose your device and whoever finds this refuses to give it back to you because, hey, lost and found, so now it's mine, kind of thing, then you can at least take the benefit of knowing that this despicable human being basically can't use your phone. Because when they reset it, because that's what they would need to do to use it, typically, when you have any kind of PIN, pattern, or password and Google account, when they reset it, the phone kind of goes, cool, you can reset it, but when you go into the setup, hold on there, Baka. We're going to need to just make double sure you are the previous owner and not a thief. So please verify the screen lock or Google account before we let you finish the setup. And previously, I do want to be honest about this. Previously, there were ways to circumvent this. Nowadays, not so much, at least not at home. Maybe they could potentially pay someone to get rid of this, but it's much more difficult than it used to be. Before, you could have just kind of glitched around the setup and go around it and then remove it altogether, but it's not the case anymore. So at least you can have that benefit and knowing that this sack of shit will either not be able to use the device at all, or he will need to fork out some additional money to have it unlocked. So yeah, anyway, now do as I say, not as I do, and I'm going to be skipping this. The reason I'm skipping it is because it's on my phone. Next, we have Google services. Now I'll waste some time right here dismantling this shit, and in reality, if you don't care about listening to this, by all means just turn it all off and move on. But if you do want to know why you should turn it off and why I want to just rant about it, then by all means stick around and listen up. So first thing is use location. Now if I turn this off, it actually turns off the allow scanning as well. So they're basically tied together. But in any case, going through this first, I'm not going to be reading the entire thing. I don't got this much of a lifespan. So I'm just going to read the most important portion of it, which is the very start of it. So use location allows apps and services. By the way, I don't think Android is considered as an app or service. Just mind it. So it would mean that in this case, Google can still look at this and be like, I don't fall under any of these categories. So this doesn't really bother Google, I think. But in any case, allows apps and services with location permissions to use your device's location. Location accuracy uses information about wireless signals such as Wi-Fi access points, mobile network towers, and GPS. Like I said, I'm not going to be reading the entire thing. Now, with the ability to turn this off, you would think that apps and services can no longer gain this information. You would be wrong. So this is more, this is technically a requirement of applications, as you're literally not allowing them to do this, but there's a couple ways that they can just circumvent this in a way. So number one, applications might refuse to just straight up work with if you don't give them permission to use location, localization, right? So if you don't, yeah, they're not going to work. And most of those applications that do this just do it because your data where you're located as is something that they're going to be selling and making profit off of. And if they don't, for instance, for example of like dating apps like let's say Tinder or other garbage, they want your location because they also offer services that basically allow you to circumvent the location and pretend you're somewhere else, but you need to pay for that. So they need to have your location to know that you're not there, to be able to sell you a feature that would allow you to position where you are out of your own choice. So that's one thing. And number two, like I said, this is more of a kind of suggestion. So they will either tell you that you need to enable it and refuse to work, or in cases of creepy ass motherfuckers like Zuck, they're just going to be like, oh, cool. Yeah, I don't care. I'm still going to do it. I might not be able to do it in the official way, but I'm just going to find some backwards way to do it anyways. And there is a reason why Zuck is in class action lawsuits left and right all the fucking time. And it's not because he's a upstanding lizard man of the society. So in any case, that's one thing. Another one is the allow scanning. So allows apps and services to access Wi-Fi network and nearby devices at any time. And this gets even worse. Even when Wi-Fi or Bluetooth is off. Which essentially means that your Wi-Fi or Bluetooth is never off even when you turn it off yourself. Because if an app and service can access it when this is enabled, when you turn it off, it doesn't mean that it's off, right? So, and again, more of a guideline. These creepy corporations can find ways to circumvent this anyways. And the reason that they do this is because that class action lawsuit that I mentioned, when they get sued and their fine is, I don't know, $3 billion. Usually, I don't think it's even that high, but whatever. Let's just make a random ass number, $3 billion, right? Typically, when they need to pay $3 billion, that means that they probably made 10 off of the data that they stole without the permission, right? And the reason why they're getting sold. So they still made 7 in profit. So you know what? That 3 is just a cost of doing shitty business. And they're still up. The line must go up. Anyway, moving on, we have allow phone number verification. This is just for applications that have verification, whatever. And then lastly, we have send user and diagnostic data. Boop, turn that off. This is just from Google, by the way. And the reason I recommend turning that off is because it's not your goddamn job to serve Google. You paid for the piece of shit phone and the system that it's running, essentially. So you shouldn't be giving away your data. And that's basically what they want. Now, the bullshit used here is help the or protect the children, or no, sorry, it's the other bullshit. Help improve your Android device experience by automatically sending diagnostic device and app usage data to Google. How about no? Now, reason for that is no, it's not your goddamn job, like I said, to help improve Google's Android. It's Google's job to improve Android. That's what they take money from companies to run Android, right? That's one thing. And number two, the data that they want is not there to help improve your experience with Android. It's there to improve the experience and financial status of the CEO. So he can, get another mega yacht by selling the data that they gather. As personal information and selling that information is the name of the game for most of these businesses. And if you don't believe me, look at Hisense as a TV manufacturer and their last year's profit margins for selling TVs. And you will quickly find out that they made, I think, more than double the revenue from selling the data that the TV generates than the TV itself. Cool. So the reason I'm, like I said, telling you to turn it off is because at the end of the day, this is just here to kind of bait you into giving away your personal information that you generate on a daily basis, and then Google selling it and creating advertisements profiles for you, that the betterment is that you get more targeted advertisements. And because they make profit off of it that you see nothing of, there is no reason for you to share this. If they want your data, they can fucking pay for it like everyone else does with them. And lastly, we have blackmail, install updates and apps. Now, mind that there is no toggle right here. That's why I'm saying it's blackmail, because it starts by continuing, you allow, it's no longer you agree. You allow Google system updates to provide features that make your Android device more secure and reliable. You also agree that this device may automatically download and install updates and apps from Google. Yes. Now this is soft kind of speak right here, soft speech, in terms of what it's doing. What it actually is referring to in reality, the reason why there is no toggle to turn off, because it's hiding what it's actually talking about. So typically even if I go in, I can go into the settings after the setup and turn off system updates and application updates. I have that ability, which would imply that there should be a toggle. The reason that there isn't, that's because it's not referring to this. It's going up around what it's actually referring to, and what that is OTA updates. OTA updates are the piece of shit responsible for changing the terms of purchase after the purchase. And it's been becoming more and more prevalent for companies to utilize this in recent timing. There's been in 2025 and 6 already several companies that have used this to change the terms of purchase. And I'm going to list some of them so you are aware what the fuck you're getting into. So we can start off with, let's say, it's Sony. Sony has been doing some stupid shit in recent timing, so I might as well just add this one, no discs and no buy kind of thing. I'm not really going to be talking about that one. What I'm going to be talking about is their phones. So Sony makes Sony Xperia phones. Now, these phones are egregiously expensive, more expensive than even Samsung flagship phones. And the benefit of overpaying for this was the fact that you can grab a cable like this, plug it into your phone, and then connect that through that cable, your phone, to your camera, the specifically alpha camera from Sony. This would have allowed you to use that phone essentially as an external display, which is color calibrated, bigger and brighter. Which typically, people that deal with photography, they buy these displays as a separate tool for their cameras, just because it's going to be much easier to see what the camera would see, and so on, right? And that was part of the phone. That was what you were overpaying for. Well, Sony decided to reward their user base that bought their phones, probably primarily for that reason, by claiming that there's not enough people using this feature. So we're going to be putting it under a subscription for everyone who bought our phone now and previously. Previously meaning before they ever even said that they're going to do this. So when you were overpaying for this phone specifically for that feature, now that feature that you overpaid for is also under a subscription. Anyway, for people that are looking for that kind of phone, what I recommend doing is not getting a Sony and just buying any phone that you want and downloading Monitor Plus as an application, which is free and does the same thing wirelessly. And it works freaking fantastically. Screw you, Sony. Anyway, but don't worry, Sony isn't the only one. Another one would be Samsung. With their smart fridges that are running, I believe, Android, they decided that, hey, our fridges have internet connection and displays. You know what? That seems like an untapped market. Let's put advertisements on it. The fridge that was designed to show you cutesy pictures of your family, get grocery lists and other things, now also shows you ads, because God forbid you were living your life without seeing a fucking ad. So yeah, that's another fantastic thing. And Google isn't one to skip out on this one either, as they're going to be using this feature to change how you can deal and manage your applications from outside of the Play Store. You don't want it? Tough shit. It's still going to be loaded to your device. Now, they were previously trying to completely prevent you from installing applications from outside of Play Store to basically become a monopolistic piece of shit by forcing you to buy applications from them even if you don't want to, and give you no other options. But since the backlash, they have been kind of flip-flopping back and forth. And at this point, I have no actual clue what they're going to be doing once they implement this. So, something to watch out for. But supposedly, you can install applications from outside of Play Store, but I'm not sure if they're still not blackmailing the developers to pay them a ransom for this. If they do it, nothing has changed. So yeah, anyway, let's move on. It's just Google shenanigans. Graphene OS is still the best choice. Always has been. Anyway, moving on, we have choose your search engine and browser. So we can go on, and here's our browsers. Now, there's way more browsers than are right here. You can just download them from Play Store. So if you plan to use a different one, select whatever the hell you want. I'm gonna be choosing Firefox as it allows for plugins, including ad blockers, and it's not based on Chromium, which means Google doesn't get the data. Moving on, search engine. So you can choose whichever one search engine you want. Again, small list. There's way more search engines. What you can do is also open up your browser that you want to use, and in there specify what kind of search engine you will be using by just typing in the domain. So maybe you want to use yandex.com. You can just type it in the settings in the browser, and whenever you do the title bar like search, it's going to use that instead of Google or anything listed right here. We can just skip this. There's nothing important here to do. Parental control. Again, if you want to track your kids, you can do that. Application service statements. So update service. The system encryption data by default to protect personal information. The device supports factory resets to erase personal data and safeguard privacy. Now, I do want to quickly point this out. So it tells you that it encrypts system data and shit like that, and basically resetting it to protect your privacy. Coincidentally enough, recently there's been a nice little example of Graphene OS where Border Patrol wanted to gain access to someone's phone because under CP pretenses to basically fish for other shit on there. At least that's allegedly, let's call it this way. And because the dude was running Graphene OS, he gave them the fake pin to unlock their device that wipes the phone. Now, they didn't like it too much, so now he's potentially facing several years in prison for that. But don't worry, this is Google, so they don't really give a shit about that one. It's running normal Android, and it means that it can be easily accessed. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because it's telling you that, oh, it's being encrypted and protected. Now, no, it's not, because if a government entity wants to get into it, it will, unless it's Graphene OS, and this is not. Telling you that this device supports factory reset to basically remove data and stuff like that while being encrypted is bullshit, because it's as though telling you that your house is safe and secure because you locked the doors. But what's the point of locking your doors if everyone else has a key to it and can unlock the door? So this is basically essentially the same shit right here. Anyway, Gen user experience programs. We're going to be skipping this. This is the same thing as Google. Help improve the products and blah, blah, blah. Share data so we can sell it and make profit. Date and time. I'm not connected to network, so that's why it's showing up. The moment you connect to internet, it will be set automatically. So you can change it if you want to, or you can just disregard it. Next, we have home screen style. We have the app drawer, or all the apps smack metal on your home screen like it's an iPhone. I'm going to be sticking to the app drawer. Navigation mode, buttons or gestures. I like gestures, which are selected by default, and you also have the circle to search. If you don't like it, you can turn it off. If you don't know what it is, if you're using buttons, you just hold the home button and it will launch circle to search. Ironically named, considering you don't circle to start searching, you hold the home or the bar at the bottom to launch it, and from there you can select text by swiping on it or do all sorts of things. And we're basically good to go, so get started and voila, there's our system. Okay, so with that being said, I hope you found this very helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.